Okay, I'm gonna call the June 23rd, 2026 town board meeting to order. Sky, have you got everyone in attendance? Okay. So we've got meeting, minutes to approve. So, I'm gonna kind of go through this quickly. So Jeff, have you had a chance to go through all
I have.
the meetings? Okay. So I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from last month's monthly meeting on 5/26. I'll just. It'll move. Okay. Then on the executive meeting, make a motion on that.
I'll make a motion.
Okay. I'll second the motion. The 6/3 special meeting, I'll make a motion on that.
I'll second.
Okay, you wanna do the 6/8?
I'll make a motion to approve the 6/8 special meeting.
Okay, I'll second that.
I'll double check, to make sure it's okay, since Michael was the one who did not do it. So you don't sign that one,
Oh, yeah.
so
Good point. I didn't think about that.
I'll double check, make sure that's.
Okay, that includes the,
It's all the meetings there.
yep. So the financials,
That'll be tapped for the section.
Yeah.
yeah, which that was all posted on Drive too.
I'll make a motion to approve the funds.
I'll second that. I'll make a motion to approve the, you had a chance to look at the claim.
I
too.
have.
You
Okay.
got C as well.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to approve the claims.
Second that.
Okay. And you had a chance to review the appropriation report. No approval needed. Okay, so we've got the approval of the payment of bills. I need to sign that though.
I'll go through those for you real quick. First one on Black, for $1,605 was for the, drying beds, clearing out the drying beds there at the wastewater plant. The USA Blue Book one is, ammonia for, I'm assuming that is for the wastewater, yes.
It is.
Then the Velpin Trucking and Disposal, that is for the delivery of the, I do believe it was just the first of the dumpsters for the drying beds. There was a total of 3. So this will be the first of 3 for 150. Then Waste Management is for the disposal of after Velpin delivered it to the landfill. That's for the first one. So we have 2 more of those coming up for $1,130.88.
Okay.
The next one for Black excavation, that was for the water leak in between 9th and 10th Street on Cleveland that they repaired last Thursday morning, I believe, like Thursday morning. United Packing and Shipping, that was for, okay, the nitrate samples for Bob, our water operator, to send off. If I remember correctly, they went to the wrong places and we have to do it again.
Yeah.
Well, they're due by the 30th of June. Water Solutions Unlimited, that was for
Water plant
water
chemicals.
plant chemicals. And then Precision Blast Works and alternative, that's for routine maintenance on the town's pickup truck.
Okay. So I'll make a motion to approve the payment of the bills not listed on ordinance 8122.
Also,
Okay. This is,
Are those bills considered within budget? Just have to have-
Talk a little bit more about that here in a little bit.
Okay.
okay. Old business townwide cleanup was held from June 8th to the 10th. It was very successful. How many dumpsters did we end up and fill completely?
We, 3 trash dumpsters from Republic and then the one
Steel
metal one.
dumpster.
Yeah.
For Dumas?
Yep.
Okay. Okay, the Republic contract, the 3% cap.
Okay, so last month, you guys approved, extending the contract. And whenever I got a hold of Republic, their first question was, for how long? So right now, our contract's up October of 29. So I mean, we still have 3 years,
Right.
but at a 3% cap with how everything's going on, that'll be 3% a year from then on out. So it's kind of not really a gamble, but you know, in 3 years, what gas price is gonna be, what's Republic's price gonna be on all that kind of stuff. So it maxes out at 3% a year increase.
Right.
So it was somewhere around 21 cents, 22 cents an increase a year per resident is what was that 3%.
So that's a month, I'm guessing. Okay. Is there any cancellation clause on the contract?
that's what I was gonna ask.
Okay. I think we should go ahead and approve that.
I don't see why we wouldn't.
Yeah.
The way things are going.
The main question was how many more years do you want to extend? But that was their question. Because we did,
Well,
when we worked and tried to get bids in 2024 for trash service for the town, they're the only ones that really offered,
Yeah,
they're the only ones that offered a bid to do
Old
trash
Town.
service, yes.
I remember that. I'm thinking 3 years.
that's a cap of 3% a year.
Mm.
3 years would be fine, I believe.
I'm assuming we need to make a motion on this.
Yeah.
Okay. I make a motion to extend the Republic contract with the 3% cap per year for 3 years.
I'd second that.
Okay.
So it lasts us into, is that 10 of 32 then? Just a 3-year extension
yeah.
off of that original day? Okay.
I would assume that. But I'll check.
Okay.
The next item would be engineered solutions, the water tower electronics after the lightning strike on 427.
Okay, today at 1 o'clock, I got an update on the insurance on that, and the original estimate for the replacing and fixing of the electronics at the water tower was $11,211. We have a $5,000 deductible, but we have disappearing deductible since we haven't really used anything, haven't used insurance to pay for anything. So it actually knocked what we owe our deductible part owed to $4,316.79. So instead of the 5,000, it knocked off $700.
Okay.
Almost $700 off of that. So we will be getting a payment from the insurance company of $6,894.21 to cover the rest of that repair. So we'll have to get a hold of
Yeah.
Engineered Solutions and get that started.
Okay, then. Next item for May meeting, Mr. and Mrs. Worland request an additional adjustment on their bill for 604 Main Street. It was discussed, but no decision was made. It has a balance of 2816. Basically, I think we're leaning toward keeping the 2816, if I remember correctly.
Believe that's the way. I was leaning on that. I don't,
Right.
yeah,
And everything
because
else
the other one,
is under new business.
correct. Yep.
Right. Okay, so that's all you need from us at this point, right? Okay. New business, water loss from 415 to 516 was 30%, which is high. So we've obviously got some leaks around town, so if anybody sees water pooling, if we've not had rain, please let us know at the town hall.
There is some good news because from May 15th to June 15th, which would be the next bill that just got mailed out, we're down again to 12.45%. So
Okay,
I would say, welcome. You weren't the only one, there were the few. So the leak, the church being fixed, the one, I wouldn't say the one that Black's just fixed on, Ridge. I don't think it had anything to do, like, that was fixed after the last reading, but that will help go down. But we did have a couple of residents that had substantial leaks over the month. And going off that leak, we were notified by a resident on Facebook Messenger on 6/13 about it. I called in the locates and Black's got it fixed on the 18th.
okay, well, that's good news.
Now, the two customer leaks, one of them we started, you discussed, which is the second bullet underneath that, the 604 Main Street. So I did talk to the new resident there. She rent off of the Whirlwind from the first page, and that's what that $28.60 was left over for. At one point in between her moving in and when the 515 reading was done, her water heater was leaking and they replaced it as well. So for her, let me see, for the bill that was just due this month, her bill was $717.85 for 28,890 gallons. We waived the late fees on there because we were waiting on the board to decide what you guys were going to do with that, because she had already had the adjustment that we can give by ordinance the month before. So she already had the one adjustment from us. So it's up to you guys if you want to give her another adjustment or not. And I think in the past, if there was a second adjustment done, it was an average. The previous bills. But the problem with this is there's not any previous bills because she's in.
Thought that the last one was running underneath Worlands and this one,
Yeah, see, that's it. So, yeah, so that last adjustment was under the Warland, so this adjustment would be.
right,
We haven't done an in-office assessment.
Or, okay,
We're waiting for Rock to report it.
Yeah. about that is her last meter reading, she only used 2,700.
like something. Well, since this is our first adjustment, then technically.
Yeah.
I think we're fine.
So
With the adjustments made, what would it come out to?
we haven't paid the,
Okay,
But
I think the decision is either offer the one-time adjustment and then the board can decide if they want to help out further. Or we're just gonna say she gets the one-time adjustment and then you guys wait. So decision is.
have her hold off on paying because we didn't know.
May okay with waiving late fees, it don't amount to anything.
I agree with that.
I don't have a problem making an adjustment. It's her first time, it'd be different if it was fourth or fifth.
Right. Especially if we didn't let them know that there was a leak and they kept
Right,
putting water on,
right.
which has happened.
We can take 1,991.
So that's what your usual adjustment is, half the city?
Yeah,
So it'd still be around $550 bill.
Yeah, 547.94.
The only issue I really have, I'd hate to clear out the whole fee because that's still chlorinated water, that's still,
we ran it through the system.
you know, everything's been run through the system at that point.
Okay, I'll need you guys to make a motion on waiving the late fees.
Make a motion to waive the late fees.
I'll second the motion. And then,
Okay, the next leak, is 3841 South Monroe City Road. He had two separate leaks. He's a water only customer. So this is a different aspect of what's going on. Everything okay, Mr. Hagman? Okay. So we can't adjust sewage because there's no sewage. Okay, the current amount due at the time for the June bill, please correct me if I'm wrong on this guy, was $396.13. They did make a payment of $180. No, so the current amount due is $396 because they paid $180. The original bill was $540.12. And that was for 47,000 gallons used. There was a second leak that they discovered, and the next bill is for 77,430 gallons, which would be $977.70.
The water pump?
So currently, that would be somewhere around 900.
No, it's not.
Really. Since she was trying in the bathroom behind me anymore. I good, just raining, she couldn't leak into water, because there was water everywhere. And it actually did. She through to the house, with rooms open, I gotta redo the kitchen, the washer and the bathroom, and yeah, it was just raining her. So, yeah, my bills usually nothing. I mean,
$50, $60 is it long.
raining. And she was running late problems. I raked the building, I should have. And then he came back and said, well, it wasn't that. I don't know if it was late, they shipped them off the chambers, or it's or they're raining.
Right.
You know, so. Yeah, like I said, usually it's your $60. You know what? Yeah. Nothing down. See.
Welcome to the city.
Get them a little bit here. Yeah.
Regular.
Well, welcome to Blue Ridge.
You want average your bill. Right. How's it working out, Scotty?
Average a gallon, like, on the last 3 bills. On that bill, and for that. Oh, okay, what's the new?
I don't know.
I didn't do it. You're right, I was here.
We know. You know.
Well, I don't know.
It's something that. Set the precedence from that point though.
It does. I almost think we need to table this.
We've done, that's what we've done before, but the customer.
Yeah.
And
For
the
water
information. But you can certainly discuss it further.
You want Michael to weigh in on this too?
I don't think it really matters, honestly.
Okay.
So this is just those numbers are wild.
Well, I think,
Also, thing, good, I didn't.
well, to put it in perspective, our water tower only holds 55,000.
That's the thing. I mean, that's like, you can't write everything off because those pumps are pumping all that water. You know, we've got
Yeah.
power and everything else going into it.
Understood.
I don't have a problem.
Chemical.
I don't have a problem doing that on something like that because it's a lot. Especially if that's what we've done in the past. I mean,
I have a estimate if you want.
Okay.
On the gallon, we would bill him for 2,193 gallons.
Would that be for 2 months or would that be for 1 month?
He owes for 2. To recoup a little bit more money, sorry, Derek. You could estimate the 2 bills in 2 different.
I understand how much it holds. See people filling the swimming pools up out of fire hydrants.
We could
still.
bill him
You know what I mean?
for that.
It's about 6 to half dozen the other.
right. I don't have a problem spreading out 2 payments, 2 months.
That's what I was thinking.
That sounds fair.
I don't understand.
Spread that average out for 2 months.
What's the average, what do you mean?
What'd you say, 2,000? She would, the bill aspect of it for you.
Instead of these $5 bills, they would be 53.59 times two,
I'm good with that. That's, oh, appreciate it.
which is
Yeah, well, my average bill, I see what you mean. Yeah, I understand what you mean. I just, yeah, you can quite some fancy words.
Okay, I'm
We'll
okay
do
with
it
it.
for that now. Sure. Well, I was thinking, let's see.
if they go on, just trying to make a payment, their big bill. So you've already paid it.
Are we okay with that one?
Do you guys just need to,
Make a motion? Make a motion to approve the averaging of those bills. Bill from.
The second motion.
okay, third one that just came in, it's not,
Okay.
it's not for this month, last month. There was a customer that's used. So they have a swimming pool and they filled their swimming pool, cleaned their swimming pool, all that kind of stuff last month. And they got our average. There's nothing you guys need to do about it now. It's just something to think about. But since their last one and this month, they've used 50,000, almost 51,000 gallons. They found there was a massive leak in their crawl space that they didn't found until we.
Okay.
So that's be coming up next month.
Which that one did not go into wastewater either, so. Next one, Mr. Gormley wants to connect his property to the town's wastewater. My understanding is we don't have any lines over there.
Now,
Yeah, so,
one thing, next property over, they have a pump and I guess basically a macerator that took the place of their septic tank, pumps it off to right over here at, Breckenridge and First Street in that manhole there. So I don't know when that was done, but I can remember when I was first on the board, there were problems with it and we were pumping out and jetting that manhole cover over there because they are hooked from, it's 241, 241, 61 intersection, the gray house is right there. They're hooked in. Well, yeah. Jay and Emily Cochran, I think, but you lived here when they did that, correct? So, yeah, it's basically the kind of system that Wheatland has for everybody. They put in a macerator tank of some sort and it pumps it to the nearest. Now, I don't know if it would be down Breckenridge or Cleveland where the closest would be because that's the property just right there, right across the road.
Options, and for them, it was gonna be easier to shoot over here to Cleveland to, so and then it basically, it'd be essentially just a thing. You said where they put it. Or whatever, and then just shoot it over here as planned. I've talked to Atkinson's about it, you know, just getting, they originally were gonna do the whole job, not interested, so I think last motion. Did it. Basically going from the corner of the yard, so this is what Wilson. your hole, they'll dig over here, hook it up over here, and then just hook it under, get all the bonds and all that for going underneath the highway. And then the other party would be from tank to what they stub out.
Okay.
Basically. And then also with that, which this is not as critical as that, and I don't know if it's something you guys have to talk about, but that property is on one water meter. And I would like to add another one that I'm gonna isolate. Both, it's two different places.
Right.
On the grant. So that way is, I'm not paying two sewer bills, So I think that part's gonna be pretty easy compared to the other, as far as what needs to be done. But then from here up here, I'll bring it up.
So basically, just so we're on the same page, you're thinking that if you have two water meters and sewage is based off water, then you would have two sewage bills because you've got two water meters.
But
Right. Just. Right. It's just- Exactly.
so basically, I think he needs permission to, basically what it is, needs permission to hook to the sewage system.
Well, we've kind of got a precedent with that gray owl. So,
Tell a neighbor yes and they no.
Because if number one, he's already a water customer, then possibility of another water customer on top of that.
right.
I don't see an issue with it.
I don't either. How that works though, Jim, is, you pay for the cost on putting in the second meeting, you decide it.
Oh,
Assume you just basically tee off right there, second meter right there, and then, establish it underneath the house.
Right.
So it seems pretty dry.
It is, especially if you're coming off the same line. Yeah. Is that a 2-inch line over there? Is that a 1-inch?
I'm not for sure.
Well, I know we were one. Using the configuration, I think, actually, saying that. Somebody a couple of years ago or last year, whenever that was. Sewage.
Yeah, should be a 5/8 meter.
Yeah, that is, but I
Yeah.
thought you was asking about
The line. Yeah. That'd be the only question is, pressure. The more people you add, the less pressure you got.
It's really not adding any more usage. It's just split two meters.
Right.
Fair condition that I recall, so, staying off the same line.
That's a fair point. I wasn't thinking about that. I was thinking more people, but you already had that situation.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay.
Any fees associated with? Or is it just, I know that the work's my responsibility, but as far as tying on to the sewer.
We just require an approved contractor. You already said you're gonna be using Travis. Just let us know who you're gonna be using.
They're insured and everything, so they were last time I checked.
If you were using someone we didn't recognize, I would check them out.
I don't have a problem with it.
Either.
All right, so that's all I need.
Yep.
Any motion on that, or
Might as well go ahead just to make sure.
I make a motion to approve the connection back in Lincoln?
I'll double check to see the last time that we had a sewer connection and try to find out what was done exactly, if there was anything.
You have blessing. How's that now? If there's any trouble, you just have them come talk to me.
Okay, if you look at tab F. Okay, it's ordinance 8/1/22 is amended 12/5/23. And it goes back to like at the beginning of the meeting where there's bills that need approved and some that's already been approved. This is the list of bills that we can pay without board approval. Things like payroll for the employees, cost for mailing, the payment of utility bills, insurance bills, bonds and interest, principal and interest on loans, federal withholding, all of our taxes, sales tax. So you can see there's 29 different things that can be paid before, without board approval, because the things are just daily operational. We would like, with your guys' approval, to look into amending that that ordinance again to allow us to pay our contractors, our wastewater and our water contractors without having to have board approval and waiting toward the end of the month every time. That would be Bob Burke, who's our water operator, Dustin Meadows, who are our wastewater operator, and Erica Goebel, who's the backup, in case Bob or Dustin goes on vacation, wherever she's contracted to fill in for them on that. Also with that, we'd like to change some of the wording on some of those, like number 20 on the ordinance says supplies from Walmart. We no longer use Walmart because Walmart doesn't have, they got rid of the company credit cards and things like that, and we can find supplies cheaper from other places. To rename that to the companies that we use, or just getting rid of that altogether. But just updating the list of the ordinances. So we'll have to draft an ordinance and it would take 2 readings.
Okay. Do you need a motion from us at this one, or this is the first reading?
No, it's not the first reading. It's just kind of bringing it up, saying that,
Okay.
that we're gonna start doing that. So they're not waiting on me, and
Right. Right.
now tab D is starting the pre-budget for 2027. So every year we kind of look at what we budgeted for this year, where we're currently at on what we've spent out of each one of those accounts to look forward and
See ya.
take an educated guess about what we need for the budget for next year. So this is our first step in it as a pre-budget. We will be meeting with representatives from the Department of Local Government Finance. That should be coming up here in the next month, because we have to have the specific, steps that we have to go through. We emailed you guys, our thoughts on some of these things, on these different funds. The biggest change in any of the funds and funding would be the clerk treasurer salary, the assistant clerk treasurer salary, the percentages of what each fund pays the compensation for. Coming into this role, the town was paying a significantly smaller percentage of the salary for the clerk treasurer and the assistant clerk treasurer than what the water and wastewater funds were. With the amount of work that that's done for the town, the percentages didn't make sense on
No.
why it was offset like that. I do believe whenever I first got on the board 8 years ago, 7 years ago, it was more in line with the numbers that we're proposing,
Mhm.
of basically equaling it out where they're all paying about 33% of the compensation. But it was changed back then because the feeling was there was enough money in wastewater and water to absorb that. But then over the years, we've seen that there's really not
Right.
enough. And, it ties in with what Miss Bessie was asking earlier about a budget for water and sewage. There's never been a budget for the water and the wastewater utility.
They doesn't require it,
State doesn't require,
but that doesn't.
but that doesn't make, for the business, it makes no sense that there's not a budget. Because if you can't see where you're healthy and where you're not,
Mhm.
how can you, so it's all kind of tying together that we need to budget. We need to form a budget, create a budget for our water and our wastewater accounts, because at how it's going, I mean, it's treading water, but it's not. I guess treading water is probably not the best thing to say with water and wastewater, but it's staying viable, but it's not growing.
Right.
Does the water leak situation play into that?
Yes, in a little bit it does, because like Mr. Hagman was saying, we're spending electricity, pumping the water, we're spending chemicals, treating the water,
Mhm.
all the different steps in there. So when there's water leaks, we can't, there's like the one at Cleveland Street, we can't charge anybody because it's our leak.
Right.
But if we have budgeted, repairs, different things like that, so we know where we're at, then that can help us in the long run. But right now, it's just kind of like, so it doesn't make a lot of sense how we got where we're at. Also with the, town council, the way their percentages are, like currently it's 18% town, 41% water, 41% sewer. I don't know, I mean, it was changed because I think the funds in water and sewer at the time were higher, so they could absorb it more.
Right.
But it doesn't make sense. I don't think you guys make more decisions on water and sewer than what you do with. So,
It's even.
and also working on labor percentages, I would change them. Number one, because if there's a new town laborer, or when there's a new town laborer, they'll be doing less of water and wastewater part of it, because we have a contractor for water and a contractor for wastewater. A lot more of their time will be dealing with the town, and stormwater. But they still will be working with water and sewage, jetting lines, helping locate, all that kind of stuff. So that would be the biggest changes would be in those percentages for compensation. Also, if you look on this spreadsheet for, technology, 2026, we only budgeted $600 for technology. That's been increased to 5,000 because of the voice cloud, the licensure and moving to the cloud, getting the correct hardware, computers, all that kind of stuff, and then just the yearly fees for that.
Which we don't have a choice on because they're phasing out the accounting package that we're on.
So our billing and accounting and utilities, all that kind of software we're using in, I think, 27, is that what they said?
I think so.
At the end of 27, they're done with physical computer of anything. It'll all be cloud-based where it's up in the cloud, so they can work on it easier for them, but also it works easier for the town, because currently all of our programming is on one computer. Because if we would add more computers, but keep stacking on the price, so for the price that we're going for, we can have, I think it's 10 different users on there, and you can act. So a little more,
Probably.
a little more user friendly for every,
And that also include bill pay too.
yes, bill pay, so
So they will host a site where you can get on and you can pay your bill, view your bill, look at your usage, make adjustments.
it's a lot more user friendly.
So you won't even have to call us if you want to switch checking accounts. It'll look more like Duke or Synergy or CenterPoint, sorry.
You're still gonna accept cash payments.
Yes,
Check
yes,
boxes,
yeah.
not Changing.
No.
It's not changing at all. But there's been a big request for it. Keystone didn't offer it, which is Voice, which is called what's it called now? They've gone through like 3 name changes like every other software company. BSNA, thank you. Which I think they just changed that within the last 9 months. I've been wanting to go to something like this for a long time because just having all this on one computer, you know, if Sky's doing work at home or Nancy was doing work at home previously, no one else had access to it. So this all being in the cloud, I think it's up to, it's either 10 or 15 logons we can have. So it'd be nice, you can get to all the reporting and everything.
And now there's like 3 different, there's key funds, there's key billing, there's key assets. And you can't use them all at the same time. You have to log out of one to go in the other. This new program allows you to just, it incorporates everything together and gives you everything you need at once instead of having to pick apart different things and then putting it together yourself. So
Well, it's,
it makes it a lot easier to use. Making a budget for water and wastewater would help out tremendously there.
yeah.
Different aspects like that.
If you're familiar with the terms, you got a dashboard. So you can pull up multiple things on the same screen at the same time. So you've got a widget for this fund, you got a widget for that fund, you got a widget for another fund. So you can see just a global view all at once.
Do you guys have any questions about any of those?
And they take care of all the backups, which is great.
On your fuel budget, did you take in the consideration of the fuel going up? Or is that our average from before?
It's just averages from before. If you look there under the MVH, right now, you know, we're June, so
Yeah.
kind of the year, we still got 89% there.
Almost 90 left.
Okay.
And the thing about the fuel is that those bills are shared, split between water, wastewater.
Okay. All right. I'm on the question.
And it's the same up under the general for like CenterPoint, Duke, Sparkplug, those are shared between the 3 utilities.
Okay.
Or the town and 2 utilities, sorry.
Thank you.
We're off to the quote for Everpar.
I can get a copy of those here, binders for you, but So for the two generators, the one for wastewater and the one for
My mind rules, nothing to ask the bear. I don't like the bear.
Thank you for coming. See you.
So this would be for the two generators, the one wastewater, one for the water treatment. You remember, the company is out that we use now, or that we used was out of around Clarksville, Indiana.
Mhm.
With the travel time and everything like that. This is their, this is their, quote for servicing the generators. The first one here is for, once a year, maintenance, which is $1,425. And the second one here is for, two services a year at $1,945. Not saying it's just a quote that we supplied. Just to be able to,
Cummins. who We currently use.
I can get you guys copies of those. They should be on.
They're on Drive, I think.
Google Drive.
Louisville, so,
I mean, there's really nothing for us to do, or for you to do tonight.
no. The only downside is it's still the same thing. They can't pull up the diagnostics.
Mhm.
Yep. On the one.
Okay, the next bullet point is our USDA loan payments will be made at the beginning of next month. Loan payment one is for the water. It's $13,055. Then we have two for wastewater. The first one's $26,702.50. And the second one will be $8,100. So those will be made, July 1st. Then we have CDs with First Financial Bank. We have 3 different CDs. And from all the research that the Sky's done, she let me know that these amounts that are in the CD, the first one's $4,500, the second one's $3,000, the third one's $1,762.23. These CDs are basically from water and sewer customer deposits that were never refunded when the person was no longer moved away, or and whatever the circumstance was. That's the money that went in there to create these CDs was from, I guess, unclaimed deposits. So right now the CDs are up, and just need to know what you guys want us to do. If you want us to get another CD, put them in there, or what do you want?
What's our options? Does that fund just go right back into water or wastewater?
I would say that the water one would have to go back, or the two, okay, it's 2 for water, they would have to go back into the water fund, and then the wastewater go there.
I would say put them back in the funds.
And I'll double check to make sure.
Cause I mean, we're earning roughly $100 per quarter off the CDs,
Not even.
not even, yeah.
$90 tops.
Yeah.
That would offset some of the write-offs for the liens and stuff.
I will double check. What funds they actually have to go back into. I mean, obviously water and wastewater.
Right.
There's a sub fund that they have to go back into.
That'd be $8,200 brought back basically.
Right.
92.
Can we transition
Yeah.
that part right there into a possible new ordinance that we were told that maybe we could create one. About customer deposit. Remember,
I don't remember what was said about the customer deposits.
unclaimed after a couple of months,
Then we can put it in,
write an ordinance.
yeah. We'll talk about some of that stuff here in a minute.
Like,
You're right. So. If you guys wanna,
The next one,
no, make a motion on that.
no, I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Okay,
You're gonna find out for sure.
Yeah, I'll find out for sure exactly.
okay, town labor position. We were thinking jet the sewer lines, turn water service on off, trash tow delivery, exercise, water valves, and then locates, yeah. And then basically, I think Michael had said last meeting that he was gonna advertise.
Are you thinking it's gonna be a full-time or part-time position and all that kind of stuff?
I'd say probably 20 hours a week.
20 to 30 if you even got that much.
So question, would we want to do this like 4 hours a day, 5 days a week, or 5 hours a day, 4 days a week? I mean, obviously,
difference.
obviously with shut-offs, we'd want them here on shut-off day.
And just to let you know, since we don't have a town labor shut-off day, it's Monday, the 29th.
That's like this Monday.
Yes.
Where am I at?
It's actually supposed to be this Friday, but we can't. Utilities cannot shut off service on Fridays, which is fine with me. That's good.
Okay, I'm around too.
We'll make it work.
I'll be around in the afternoon, but not in the morning.
Hopefully we just don't have. Hope for the best.
Exactly.
Hoping everybody paid their bills.
That'd be,
Wouldn't know.
that'd be awesome.
And
Yes, it would.
the last thing there, we received the spring disbursements on the property tax, the license excise tax, and the financial institute. We got that, it's been deposited into the bank.
Right.
Real quick, I got other item notations I've got written down there. On June the 10th, I had Mr. Jay Southwood from NJS and Associates visit us here at Town Hall. He is a former clerk treasurer, and I just wanted him to come in and you know, just basically look through things and see how we were doing and if everything was going well. He, you know, overall, he was impressed with the way things were going. One thing that I talked to him about was the USDA loan paperwork. We talked earlier about paying the USDA loans. That was for the major water and wastewater upgrades that we did 2019, 2020 21 around in there. We filled, Guy and I filled out the paperwork for the USDA loan. There was 6 or 7 different forms that we needed to fill out. We sent it to the USDA. They said, they said, well, there was a couple things that weren't quite right. But Mr. Southwood pointed me in the direction of Mr. McGowan of Commonwealth, which is the engineer company that we use. And I'll talk about his, he came to visit us last week and it was very, very informative, very good. On our appropriation reports, I think that's your tab B. If you look at it, there is on the first page, turn to the side, the first fund number there, the 1101, the general fund, the very bottom of it says general audit paid back from. If you go all the way over to the right, you can see that it's a negative number. He was very insistent that there should never be a negative number on there. That should be budgeted. That should be a budget item. And it should have been a budget item the past few years. I've reached out to the State Board of Accounts and to the Department of Local Government Finance. I haven't heard anything back yet, but to find out, exactly what we need to do for that now. We didn't budget anything, number one, because they didn't get an answer back from them yet, and number two, paid off this November, so we won't be making those payments next year. We wouldn't have to budget for anything like that. Now, what this is paying back the state for the audit that was performed in 2022.
Right.
So when the state does an audit, you have to pay the state for doing that. So that's what that was. So that was one thing that he found that we're still trying to get answers. One thing he did walk us through was,
Can I ask a question
Yeah,
real
go
quick?
ahead.
So would that allow us to put in so much a month, a year, however we do it? And, for future audits, so we
so
wouldn't,
if you budget that for that, then instead of it being negative, because
Right.
on the appropriation report, it shows that we spent, $3,000 out of nothing. We didn't budget for it. So I'm still waiting on answers. I've reached out a couple different times about it. He did show us something that we could do, an appropriation transfer, but like I said, we don't know what the state wants us to do right now, so we're not doing anything with it right now. Another thing, Mr. Southwood is on his town council now. He was the clerk treasurer there for 32, 8 years, and now he's actually on the board. And their town is getting a website created by Tyler Technologies, and Tyler Technologies is doing it for free. So I reached out to them, and we have a Meet, is it Meets? Google Meets. I think I sent the invitation out to you guys on Friday, July 10th with Tyler Technologies to see, if that would be a good fit for us. It is a in.gov website, so I don't know exactly if there would be cost with the website, but they're actually, the Tyler Technologies, from my understanding, will design it and launch it at no cost. He also gave me a contact for our capital assets. I need to locate our capital assets ordinance and to see what our ordinance actually says about those. He gave me a contact of a guy that used to work for the State Board of Accounts, who now helps towns and cities with their capital assets. And that would be great to know for budgeting processes and things like that. So it's just another step in the whole process of we probably need to get this done. It probably should have already been done, but we're trying to just get everything taken care of. And then He asked if we were a member of AIM, Accelerate Indiana Municipalities. We haven't been a member of AIM for a few years, but there's a lot of good trainings, tools, people connections, stuff like that, as being a part of AIM would allow. That's a yearly cost to be a part of it, and the information that I got from him would be, I think it was $950 per year for the town of Monroe to be a part of AIM.
That sounds right, because we were, I think, back years ago when we were, it was like 800 then.
And I will say, Sky and I attended, and I think I might have talked about it last month, something about the local income tax in Vincennes with Vincennes and Bicknell and some of the other towns and stuff like that was hosted by AIM, and the information and it was just phenomenal. So, I mean, just that interaction from, between me and AIM and what they've had, it was very good. So, but then, so I contacted the Mr. Craig McGowan of Commonwealth, and he was here last week. He walked us through the USDA paperwork, and we found out a lot of interesting things. Sky and I did it, from what he said, because he used to work for the USDA and take care of these loan paperwork, and now he works for Commonwealth. And he went through and said, there were just a few things that we did incorrectly on there that weren't major, but we could take care of for the next time.
You mean prior to you being in your position?
So, one thing, whenever we did, we sent it in earlier this year. We got an email back from the USDA, and one of the big questions that was brought up was, where are your short-lived assets fund? And that was a question that Mr. McGowan helped us with. These are our bonds that we have for the loans with the USDA. And for both, actually for all three loans, we're supposed to have a short-lived asset reserve, money that we put back every month to pay for problems with anything that was during the upgrade. I didn't print it out, and I should have. But our debt reserve is fine. There's two different accounts. We have a debt reserve for wastewater, a debt reserve for water, a short-lived asset for wastewater, a short-lived asset for water. The debt reserve, what that is money we put in every month to make the USDA loan. We've done that. Okay. The short-lived asset is the sewer plant. Let's say one of the pumps from the bottom up to the top goes out. You use money out of that short-lived asset reserve instead of trying to find money in your operating cost. It's money that's set aside for that. We have one for wastewater. We were supposed to put in somewhere around $1,500 a month into that. This started in August, September of, our sewage would have started in October of 20. So if you figure $1,500 for 6 years now, there should be a lot of money built up in there. We've only put $16,000 in there, and that was a one-time thing back in 2020. So why that was never created and set up and done monthly, I don't know. I've reached out to the USDA to see how we rectify this, because that's a lot of money that if they want us to have it in there all at once, that we would not be able to do.
Right.
Mr. McGowan's pretty confident that we wouldn't have to put all of it in there, but we need to start. So after looking at the wastewater, we looked at the water operating, and there was never short-lived asset account made for water. And that was terms of the bond agreement with the USDA, is that we have those and we fund them every month. We have not been, and the water one would have started in August of 2021. Its payment was not as high as the sewage, because the sewage had more loan to it, but that account wasn't even created. There's never been any money put into it. So
So did our USDA paperwork from the past not reflect that then?
I'm not for sure, because I can't find any. I found, looking through emails, finally, I found last year's one page of last year's USDA paperwork that was sent in. And it doesn't have the short-lived assets on there. It's just, but anything before that, I can't find any records of it being done. And that paperwork is something that the USDA requires every year. So I don't
Have we
know.
covered that? You talked to the USDA about that then?
The lady that I've been working with, she said, I could go, how is it that there hasn't been paperwork in it? She said, we haven't really been good in the past of double checking stuff. She goes, but that's changing. I said, well, that's good in a way, but so, yeah, just to let you guys know that, with budget, talking water and wastewater, making a budget, that we're gonna have to budget for $1,500 a month to go into short-lived asset. We're gonna have to budget, I think it's $1,011 or something like that to go into the water
Right.
short-lived asset. So, I mean, it made me sick thinking about the money that was supposed to be there that's not.
That's kind of like an emergency fund, is that?
Yeah, so we could have used it when we had those 3 pumps go out.
Last year, the year before, there's our wastewater plant kind of sits up high on a hill.
Mhm.
So it all goes down, and there's 3 pumps that pump up. These 3 pumps were redone, and actually the whole system was redone whenever we did the project. Well, we had trouble with all those pumps basically all at once, and we had to come up with the money to find that short-lived assets account is there to take that. But instead of that being there for us to use, we had to get into the operating expenses and things like that to figure out how to pay for it.
Is that in any way related to, my brother was saying something about a bond being passed a few years ago, or a levy being passed a few years ago for upgrades to water and sewer?
Yeah, that's,
Without the USDA loan. Okay.
We closed the loan. I don't know how the loan closed. That's,
they're funding it.
Was it,
well, don't
They
know.
have it.
so will you be audited then with starting this? Will there be an audit on it?
Probably, honestly.
I would say yes.
Because now you're.
Something looks like.
One thing to not know about it, but once you know about it, you have to fix it.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. But part of our water and sewer bills goes to pay those USDA loans, right?
Yes.
Okay. And part of that money should have been put into these funds. Okay, I understand.
So that's where I really, really want a budget. Sit down and develop a budget for both of those, because it needs to be done. Like earlier, we were talking about the lightning strike at the water tower
Mm-hmm.
and finally getting insurance, with
That
it's
would have covered that.
we could have, in the short term, we could pay for it. It could already been fixed, and then we could have got the money, from insurance but we were waiting because we just didn't have the
Right.
funds to do that. Well, that's what that short-lived asset's for, but it's not there. And we checked with,
Several things trying to fix, so.
we checked with,
Love to hear it.
Yeah, really.
I know.
it's,
Thank you. working to make it right.
Oh, we don't have to do. No, that's the thing, we were going to the town, because we live here too.
Well, the others did too.
So. For what side? Well, I'm sort of probably reaching out to him at some point in time, just to get, the way we can get a grasp on the value of everything, so it's the value of everything and appreciation on everything. That way, that helps in the long run for loans and grants and different things like that. Just stuff that we need to have. But not. It's been
Eye-opening.
fun. Just to let you, because of one other thing I wanted to share with you is last month we did have 5 shut-offs, which was not terrible. I don't think 5's pretty
Not
pretty
bad.
average. And as we sit right now, we still have 26 on the list, but that number normally, it'll go down significantly over the weekend, so.
Good. I hope so.
Yep. That's
So
all
26 no pays so far?
so far, yeah. And last month, it was a lot higher than that, so. Last month, we started with 58 and ended with 5. This month, we started with 40, so.
It's dwindling, little by little.
But it's, yeah. Trying to learn all these new things. And then
Thanks for taking the time to do it.
figuring out what we need, so.
I don't have anything further. You have questions?
I have a question. And it's politically sensitive. Person running for a board position, are they required to be a resident of Monroe City?
Yes.
Define resident.
You have to live here for a full year.
So not just come over and mow once a month.
Yeah, no, you have to live here in Monroe for a full year, and then you can be a town board member, like apply to be a town board member.
Okay. All right.
You have anything?
No.
You got anything?
I don't.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second the motion.
Thank
Next
you
meeting,
for all you're doing.
next meeting is July 28th, 2026 at 6 PM. Sorry about your loss.